Ready?
I'm ready. Good evening, everyone. Being 7 p.m., I'll call to order the McHenry County Board regular meeting of July 16th, 2024, and Mr. Hendricks will lead the pledge today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And for our invocation this evening, we have Reverend Mary Patrice Wendt of Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock. Welcome back.
Let us pray. Divine Creator, we welcome in your presence, your insights, your inspiration into this moment as we breathe in this time together. We invite that still small voice to be heard within our ears, the love that is all around to be felt within our hearts, and the understanding that comes from both to fill this evening's meeting. Thank you for each and every person here who's invested their time and their energy and their love of being the presence of this community that's looking out for its best interests, that is holding space for each and every person that lives within it, and that opens their minds to collaborating with others in ways that are unexpected and amazing, that could never be done alone, but can only be completed together. Let us find strength in each other. Let us see one another and the presence of the divine Creator in each other's eyes. Let us know that each person is here to share this moment, to aim for the best outcome, and to be connected with one another in moving forward to the highest possible good that is to be made. Let it be so, and so it is. Amen.
Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Althoff. Here. Campbell. Here. Gadamuller. Here. Greeno. Here. Hendricks. Here. Kaminsky.
Present and counted for.
Kearns. Here. Kunkel. Here. Meshes.
Here.
Ness.
Here.
Reinert.
Here.
Sager.
Here.
Shorten.
Here.
Scala.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Van Hoff. Von Bergen.
Here.
Wegner.
Here.
17 present, Chairman.
Okay, having a quorum, we'll proceed. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Mr. Scala makes a motion, Mr. Kaminsky seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of previous meetings. Ms. Ness makes the motion, Mr. Shorten seconds. Any changes or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carries. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be back, and thank you, Vice Chairman Gadamuller, for filling in for me at last Thursday's Committee of the Whole meeting. This weekend, I had the pleasure of representing McHenry County at the National Association of Counties Annual Conference in Hillsborough County, Florida. I attended the Rural Action Caucus meeting, which discussed all things development, from federal transportation resources to creating successful partnerships between counties and broadband internet providers. I also attended the large urban county caucus that addressed transportation, elections, healthcare, mental health, and housing issues, which have become increasingly common across the nation. While housing has become a national challenge, I do have some good news about housing from right here in McHenry County. Earlier today, the Housing Opportunity Development Corporation and North Point Development Corporation officially closed on the Taylor Place Apartments in McHenry with the Illinois Housing Development Authority. The $800,000 advanced McHenry County grant that the county board wisely saw fit to award to the project is going to start being spent, as is the $1.25 million received in home ARP, and treasury funds. Work is expected to begin by the end of the month, and when it's done, 50 new workforce housing units will be open and ready for tenants. And hopefully this is the first of many such projects to meet a growing need. And speaking of workforce housing, I would like to thank Deputy County Administrator Scott Hartman and Director of Public Affairs Alicia Schuler for reporting on McHenry County's workforce housing needs last Thursday. I would also like to thank the entire Workforce Housing Work Group for their hard work over the past year, and co-chairs Lou Ness and Pam Altoff for their leadership on this important issue. Moving forward, I will be coordinating with Shaylin Daigle and the McHenry County Council of Government Executive Committee to discuss next steps with our municipal partners. And speaking of important and impactful advanced McHenry County investments, I'm eagerly waiting for the opening of the new Foglia Center for Advanced Technology and Innovation at McHenry County College. The $1.69 million advanced McHenry County grant the county board approved is paying for a good portion of the center's state-of-the-art equipment. MCC held an open house last Wednesday to show it off for prospective students, the community, and area manufacturers who will benefit from the trained professionals the school will create. If the college schedules an official grand opening event, I will let you know immediately. Actually, I'm not done talking about advanced McHenry County investments into our future skilled workers. It's my pleasure to report to the county board that last week 90 area students entered the second rotation of the Manufacturing Pathway Consortium's rotational internship program this summer. 19 local host companies are giving them paid internships through August 8th, and on that final day, MCC will be hosting a celebration for the host companies, the interns, and their families. All county board members are welcome to attend the celebration, and we'll get more information out to you soon. I also have more great news. This is the third year of the program, will not be its final one. Funding support for a 2025 summer internship program has been received from the Illinois Community College Board through its trade schools program. The $717,300 advanced McHenry County grant that the county board allocated to get this project off the ground is paying some wonderful dividends. Finally, this evening, construction is substantially complete on our new McHenry County Election Center, and County Clerk Joe Tirio and his staff are eager to move in and get it set up to administer the November presidential election. Joe asked me to tell you to watch your inboxes for an invitation to a sneak peek coming soon. Just a quick note on the agenda, I'll be pulling off the special recognition today as the two teams are unable to join us this evening. We'll reschedule them at their convenience. And also, I've been informed that the McHenry County Animal Control location in Crystal Lake currently has more puppies than space. So if you're thinking about adopting a furry family member, there's no better time than now to make a home for a cute little puppy. If you're interested, contact Animal Control at 815-459-6222. And that's all I have this evening. Do any members have comments tonight? Mr. Kaminsky.
I've got two announcements. I'll try to be pithy. Again, this year on August 10th in McHenry, was started out as What a Vet, but we've changed it in the Ken Carpenter Memorial for the veterans. Ken Carpenter came into Harmony a few years back and was impressed when Post 491 was doing a meat raffle for Veterans Path to Hope. He was impressed with what was going on. He wrote a check, folded it, and gave it to the commander. A while later, he kind of looked at his wife, and his wife, asked him to look at it. It was a check for $5,000. He wanted to do more for the vets. So they kibitzed and then came up with the idea of getting captains in their boats and the vets that are landlocked or live near the water and have never had the opportunity to get out on one of our greatest natural waterways. So on August 10th, starting down at Miller Point around 8:30 in the morning,
We're going to have boats and take vets for the full day. We're going to feed them up at captain's quarters with all kinds of grilled burgers, dogs, brats, corn, and the whole fixings, drinks included. It's a real good time to have the vets get out there, enjoy the beautifulness of the chain of lakes. Then the next day on August 11th, Spirit of 45. Some may ask, what's the Spirit of 45? Well, this will be the 80th year of the celebration of the end of World War II. At Veterans Park there in McHenry, we'll have the little big swing band starting around 4 o'clock. We'll have the combined color guard, and we'll be talking about what the greatest generation gave to this country in the vets. Last year, there was only 2 left veterans from World War II. We'll hope they'll attend. And that'll start at about 4 o'clock at Veterans Park, and the ceremony starts at 5 sharp. That's all I got. Thank you for your indulgence.
Ms. Ness?
I want to take a moment to apologize to this body for not aligning myself with our group norms and for calling out a colleague in member comment at our last board meeting. I'm not apologizing for my comments, but I do believe that when we make a mistake or when we break a rule, we own it, and I'm doing that, and I'm apologizing for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further member comments, we'll move on to zoning petitions. Do any members have items they'd like to remove from the zoning consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the zoning consent agenda. Mr. Scala makes the motion. Mr. Smith seconds. Clerk, could you open the voting, please?
Voting's open.
Voting is open. Have all voted who wish?
Ms. Ness and Mr. Scala?
Not bad.
All right. I'm sleeping still.
Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to public comment. Just a reminder, public comment is a 3-minute period of which you can address the board. At the 3-minute mark, the light will come on here, and if you haven't completed your comments, I would ask you to do so at that time. First up will be Terry Capel.
Good evening, everyone. I chose to wear black tonight, a hot black suit tonight, because I feel myself in mourning for the 42,967 people who lost their lives to gun violence last year, but in more so in the wake of the horrific shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally on Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania. As a Democrat precinct committee person, McHenry 31, I denounce the use of violence, particularly as incitement toward violence and incitement towards violence from all political ideologies and in all its forms. Regardless of our differences on policies, we are all Americans. Our differences are and always should be viewed as minor compared to that we have in common. I hope that all Americans will engage in our political advocacy, whether in an official role or when debating political views over the dinner table or to friends, neighbors, and co-workers. We'll present our commit ourselves to our traditional American heritage of an unwavering commitment towards advocacy, debate, and fair elections as the only legitimate means for change in our country. Our waving belief should always be that the means of change are the most important ends. A belief in the will of the majority and the peaceful transfer of power is the foundation of our nation and the only true fidelity to our Constitution and the law. I implore all, whether in government service or in private citizens, to reject hatred, intimidation, and violence against others in our deeds and in our rhetoric, particularly those directed towards others because of political differences. As a member of the Democratic Party, I encourage all Americans, as well as members of my party, to advocate passionately for their vision of a better America, yet to always do so guided by the ideals of Evelyn Bertrice Hall, who once said, "I may not agree with what you have to say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it." Thank you.
Kevin Michelli.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I got a quick question first. My name's Kevin McHenry, M-I-C-H-E-L-I. It's Italian. It looks and sounds Irish, though. Got a couple questions regarding the Prairie Enterprise zoning change from B1 to B3. So do I reserve some of those comments till after the presentation, or can I ask them now?
There will be no presentation tonight. It's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda?
Next month.
Okay. Then I excuse myself. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Kyle Lindley.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Lindley with Prairie Enterprises. I just, first of all, wanted to thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you today, and also thank you for letting us go ahead and pull the from the agenda today. I just wanted to give you an update on what we're doing so far. We have met with the city of Crystal Lake and working on trying to see if we can come up with a mutual agreement and see what path they would like us to take. It took us quite a while to get a meeting with the mayor, and so we are requesting a possibility of further extension more than just the 30 days that is up for next month, if that's possible, because it's going to take a while to get through planning and zoning and then back to the board again. And then work with their program or their project managers to make sure that it's what they are looking for. We also are asking for we're taking their feedback, and we're currently working on revisions on that project, and going to be turning that into them later this week. And then hopefully they'll review it fast so that we can get this process taken care of before your timeline is due. If that timeline comes up and we are not able to do an extension, we would really like your support and pass this zoning from B1 to B3. And we thank you very much for your time today. Thank you.
That concludes public comment. We'll move on to appointments. I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointment to the McHenry County Conservation District as of today and the term to expire through 6/30/2026. Ms. Campbell makes the motion. Ms. Wegner seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Move on to committee chairperson updates and liaison reports. Does anyone have anything for us tonight? Mr. Kearns.
Stormwater Commission meeting next week on Thursday at 8:15 for all those who are attending.
Okay, seeing no further updates, move on to the routine consent agenda. Do any members have items they'd like to remove from the routine consent agenda? Ms. Wegner, if I remember correctly, from the COW 16, B21, B29, and B212?
That's it.
Okay. Mr. Scala?
16B11.
carries. Seeing no others, I will entertain a motion to approve the routine consent agenda, less items 16B11, 16B21, 16B29, and 16B212. Ms. Meshes makes the motion, Ms. Greeno seconds. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. And I want to take those separately, right?
No, I can just mark the abstains in the minutes, that's fine. So we only need to do a separate vote on the one.
No, well, we didn't vote on that one, so we're going to have to vote on them all in one, or you want them separate?
Separate.
Okay. Move on to item 16B11. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Gadamoller makes the motion. Mr. Shorten seconds. Discussion. Mr. Scala.
Yes, good evening. Sorry I was not able to express an opinion on Thursday of last week. My comment is in part on 3.2, which is the remote attendance policy. In there, in the second paragraph, it talks about the 3 different reasons by which a board member can call in or phone in. They are personal illness or disability, employment purposes for business of the county board, or a family or other emergency. My concern and what I've seen in my years here is as chair of a particular committee, it's difficult to ascertain as to whether a board member, I'll say, qualifies per board rules to meet these 3 criteria. And I have a hard time sitting there questioning a board member in their ethics of whether they're following this or not. So, you know, I think we are all adults. I think we all try and attend board meetings as much as possible. And we have other mechanisms by which, if board members aren't attending committee meetings, by which they can be removed. So in my eyes, I would like to remove those 3 items and just simply have them be able to report that they're not here. So that's, I believe, within our purview as far as what we want to do here. So that would be my recommendation. I would simply, in the second paragraph, I would end it where it says prevented from physically attending, period, and then get rid of all of that, and then start up the sentence again. In such event, the member shall, unless impractical, give a notice and all that. So I apologize for the late notice of this, but that would be my comment and my modification.
You're making a motion?
Unless you, if you want to have discussion on it first, but.
Let's have discussion. Mr. Gadamoller?
Yeah, the reason the reason our rules are written the way they're written is because it follows the state statute. We do not have authority to let people into board meetings or otherwise when they're not available just because they'd like to be. The state statute is what we've mirrored. Whenever they change it in Springfield, I'd be happy to go to the way Mr. Scott is suggesting, but we don't have the authority to do that.
Your Norm shaking your head, that's true?
That is absolutely true.
So in other words, because we weren't given permission, we can't do something. Is that what you usually say?
Well, actually, in years past, the remote attendee would state on the record why they were attending remotely, and I think that's kind of gone by the wayside some. I think there have been more private conversations so that if it was some health issue, that it wasn't made public. It would be that, pursuant to the rules, this is going to be acceptable for remote attendance. But Mr. Gadamoller is right. The state statute does lay out those 3 things as the reasons that you can attend remotely.
So do we have to have it in our board rules though?
if they were in your board rules, you'd have to follow it anyway. And then it may be you really would have to state on the record what it is as opposed to pursuant to the board rules requesting remote attendance. And I think it would be acceptable if somebody didn't want to say publicly what that was, to speak to the chairman or chairwoman, chairperson, as to what their reason is. And the chairperson could say, pursuant to our rules, Ms. Smith is allowed to attend remotely. But then it's a vote of the board.
Well, and I understand it's still a vote of the board. It's just, that puts chairmen of committees who are supposed to be responsible for the attendance in an awkward position of, you know, well, I don't think your reason that you're giving is per board rules.
It should be one of these reasons right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll drop it then, so.
I would say 9 times out of 10 for this body, when somebody says that they're not going to be here, they provide a reason why. I'm not going to do a deep dive and send a private investigator to their home to make sure that they're doing what they say they're doing or not capable of showing up. So that's beyond, I have to trust my board members that they're telling me the truth and have a legitimate excuse. Mr. Renner?
I just have one question for Norm, Mr. Vinton. So, Norm, you know, as I read it, those are the 3 reasons under the state statutes that one person could attend remotely, correct? Those are 3 that they could attend remotely. As Mr. Scala had mentioned, we couldn't adopt another reason why we could attend remotely, or would we just have to say, I was sick, I couldn't make it back from Florida today?
I did make it back from Florida.
So did I.
See what I mean?
3:15 a.m.
I, in all candor, I don't know whether you could add some other rule in there. We're not a home rule county, so we are kind of bound by the state statutes and the guidance that those statutes give us. But in all candor, I don't know what else you would, I just didn't feel like coming, or I don't know what else you would add to this,
Well,
that, because you have, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's pretty all-inclusive. Family or other emergency, employment purposes, illness or disability. I'm not sure what you would add that would, I guess in my mind, justify going outside of the state statute to allow a remote attendance.
My question was, is that just your interpretation of the statute, that it says those limited to only those 3 reasons, or those are 3 reasons why you could? Do you understand my question?
I
Norm?
do understand your question,
Okay.
and I'm not sure I can answer that because I haven't looked at that statute in I don't know how long. But I know that this is compliant with that statute, but I don't know the language of that statute to tell you whether the statute says these are the reasons or these are among the reasons. I can't answer that for you tonight.
I would like to ask Mr. Scala if he'd like to postpone it until we could get a definite answer to that. It's up to Mr. Scala, in my opinion, but I would certainly go with him.
No, I mean, again, I think as a whole, our board does a very good job at this. It puts chair people of committees in awkward positions to try and make sure that we're meeting this. And if it's statute, so be it, it's statute. Just like a lot of other things, I just live with it.
We don't know if it's statute.
Well,
Well, we don't know if it's limited to that.
I'm,
Okay, one at a time. Mr. Scala has the floor.
I'm willing to drop it. It's fine. Big picture in life, it's not worth it.
Ms. Campbell.
Okay, and I'm not going to add much more. I just thought, in terms of state statute, I thought it was more, those are the 3 reasons why somebody could not only attend remotely, but that they would have the ability to vote. That your attendance was not possible because of these 3 legitimate reasons that are by state statute, and that that allows you to vote when you're calling in. That was my understanding. So I do believe it is part of state statute. I get what Member Scala is saying, but we have to trust that our members are going to do it for the right reason.
Norm?
Mr. Hartman pulled up an Attorney General opinion while we were speaking, and basically the language goes on. It's under the Open Meetings Act, which is what this falls under. And there's a section in here from the AG's office. A majority of the members physically present at the meeting may allow another member to attend by video or audio conference if the member is prevented from physically attending because of, and it lays out those three factors. It says the public body's own rules may expand the statutory list of reasons permitting remote attendance. If a member needs to attend a meeting remotely for one of the listed reasons, the member must notify the recording secretary or clerk of the public body before the meeting, unless advance notice is impractical. So there's that line, the public body's own rules may expand the statutory list.
Okay. Ms. Campbell, you done?
No, I guess I was under the understanding that part of that was the ability to vote. And maybe that was going on during COVID, because I know that there was some clarification during COVID, especially, but maybe my understanding was it allowed you to vote remotely, as opposed to just saying, I'm not going to show up.
That's true. During COVID, the Open Meeting Act rules were really, I'm not going to say suspended, but they were made very flexible.
Okay.
And then by governor's order, probably now a good year and a half ago, that part that allowed this pretty wide open remote attendance was then rescinded.
Okay. All right, well then with that new information in mind, I mean, I understand, again, Member Scala's concern when somebody asks and wanting to have a reason or whatever, but I think that if you can be here, you should be here. And I'm good with the 3 reasons for attending remotely.
Ms. Meshes?
I think that you just answered the question I was about to have, because I was going to try to expand on John's question, which was, in the case that in the past, we have had people remotely attend just because they are on vacation. What was it, repercussions to that? Is that opening us up for lawsuits or something from the public?
No, I think pursuant to that opinion,
Yeah.
you could put in your rules if you said that, or if you're on vacation, you could add that in.
So, okay.
Scott, you have something to add?
Yeah, I'd recommend that unless there are questions regarding the other changes recommended by Administrative Services Committee, I'd recommend that the document be adopted and then this particular matter be kicked to Administrative Services for further review, so we don't hold up this, and it gives the committee time to deliberate on what they could do. The state's attorneys can research a little bit further as to what latitude you have as a public body, and secondly, Administrative Services Committee then can deliberate and come up with perhaps maybe another reason or 2 if that's allowed.
Ms. Ness?
I would like to say that if I'm the chair of the committee, while I do understand that it puts some onus on you, if the committee member tells me that they can't come because of one of these 3 reasons, I'm going to believe them. And as the chair, I feel like that's my responsibility. I've done my due diligence. I can't, it doesn't matter if it makes it harder for the chair. We're the chair. If you're the chair of the committee, you have a responsibility, and then you do that, and you get the answer, and the answer you get is what you have. You have to trust that people are telling the truth. It's not up to me to find out if they're lying. So, yeah.
Mr. Reiner?
I would trust that we could fix this at committee, and I wouldn't want to make a big deal about it and waste this board's time. However, I do see, in the past, that spring break or that annual family vacation that would bar somebody for doing it. And the only reason I bring it up, the only reason I expound on it is because I would think that a chairman might have a problem with a board member that he knows could participate and help in, a meeting or a vote, or, making the other committee members understand, the facts at hand in that meeting. So I could see where this could be unnecessarily counterproductive. So I would hope that we could bring that to committee and fix it in the future.
seeing no further comment, clerk, could you open the voting, please? Board rules. Item 16B11. As presented.
Voting's open.
Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 16B21. Mr. Scala makes the motion, Mr. Shorten seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none. Clerk, could you open the voting, please?
Moment. Give us a moment. That voting's open.
Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 16B29. Mr. Scala makes the motion, seconded by Ms. Meshes. Discussion? Seeing none. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 16B212. Mr. Scala makes the motion, seconded by Mr. Gottemoller. Any discussion? Seeing none. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. No ordinances this month, reports, presentations. Scott, you got a report for us tonight?
The only thing to say is your strategic plan report card has been updated and posted on the website, so please take some time to review it. Really proud of the accomplishments over the past month and help celebrate with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Scala makes the motion. Ms. Greeno seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Against? Have a good night.